I came to Milan's Expo 2015 with the metro, arriving at the expo station Ro Fiera, northwest of the city. From there, it was just a brief walk past the ticket windows and through security, then up escalators and through 2 more walkways to the actual West Gate Fiorenza. From here, just a minute or two to the beginning of the Decumano, the main axis traversing the expo from west to east. Except for the Italian exhibits, which were located on the Cardo, running north-south, almost all the other pavilions were located along the Decumano, which extended for 1.5 kilometers. Expo 2015's motto, by the way, was Feeding the Planet, Energy for Life. From what I had read, I expected waits of 1 or 2 hours or more at most pavilions, so I had decided to focus my visits on the 9 so-called food clusters, where there were supposedly no queues. The first one I stopped at was the rice cluster. Each cluster was devoted to those countries which are leading producers of the particular food item. For rice, this meant Bangladesh, Cambodia, Myanmar, Laos, and Sierra Leone. I love rice, and have never encountered a traditional way of cooking rice I don't like. When in Italy, of course, I look forward to eating as much risotto as I can. Aside from the miniature rice field which had been set up, I also liked the informative displays on how rice is farmed and, occasionally, transported. My next cluster was cocoa and chocolate, with Cameroon, Ivory Coast, Gabon, Ghana, Sao Tome y Principe, and Cuba. Before I moved on, I made sure I collected some high cocoa content chocolate bars from Peru and Costa Rica for after lunch. Cocoa was followed by the coffee cluster, with exhibits by 10 leading coffee-producing nations. While I was there, I made an appointment for a tour the following day at the Illy Pavilion. While contemplating which of the 14 spice cluster exhibits I should visit first, I heard an announcement that a cooking demonstration was about to begin over at the Alitalia Etihad Pavilion, so I interrupted my itinerary and headed straight there. What we got to see was a delicious summer dish prepared by a chef from the Seychelles. I only caught his first name, Joël, during the introduction by an Alitalia flight attendant. No filming was allowed during the show, but as you can see from the prep table, Joël fried onion and red and yellow peppers in olive oil while sweet potato cubes were being boiled. These were later added to the peppers. Shrimp were then fried. Cilantro, lemon juice, and curry powder were also included, and the finished mixture was served tossed with frisée.
Okay, you ready? 1, 2, 3.
Smelling the ingredients as they were being prepared, and seeing the finished salad made me incredibly hungry. I had already decided earlier I would have lunch in the spices cluster, so I walked back there as fast as I could. My choice fell on the Afghan restaurant, where I ordered a tasty Kabul pilaf, lamb shank with rice, pine nuts, raisins, carrots, and saffron, served with a sort of fusion flatbread focaccia. After lunch, I headed over to the Burundi Pavilion, where I had a shot of great espresso. Then I was ready for the queue at the Austrian Pavilion. On all the Expo top 10 lists I had sifted through online, the Austrian Pavilion was prominently placed, so it's not just chauvinism which fueled my desire to go. The wait to get in ended up being not that long, only about 40 minutes. The exhibition space had been filled with lots of trees which had been transplanted from Austria. The greenery lowered the inside temperature by some 3 to 4 degrees Celsius, without air conditioning, no doubt a factor in the pavilion's popularity. and breathing the good air inside was indeed both a relief and a pleasure. I wasn't sure I entirely understood the climate active prototype explanation just before the exit, especially with the slightly idiosyncratic English. But the production of fresh air for 1,800 visitors per hour was an impressive statistic. It hadn't been that long since lunch, but the sight of the roll with bacon and spruce butter at the food stand made me notice I was getting hungry again. It was time to retrace my steps on the Decumano back to the metro station, where I still had a long ride back into the center, with only my Peruvian chocolate as sustenance. Dinner, at an exciting new venue for me, would still be a few hours away. More about that in my next video.